Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. It's a beautiful day today, and I've been out teaching my sons how to lay a new base for a hugel culture. That's hard to say. Hugel culture plot. Getting some of next year's planting beds ready. I think I mentioned in the last video, or maybe the one before that, the different methods that I use, and I use the wood chip, kind of the back to Eden, and the hugel culture. But I found that I have the best results when I kind of combine the two. So that's what we've been doing today. Maybe I'll do a more in-depth video on that. There's plenty of videos out there on both the back to Eden, the wood chip, the hugel culture. So there's no reason for me to try to reinvent the wheel, and they'll get into a lot more depth than I would care to myself. But today's, I want to talk about the importance of momentum. You know, like everything else in life, momentum is important in prepping and in developing our preparedness. And when we hit a bump in that, it can kind of throw us off stride. A friend of mine told me of a story that happened to him when he was a teenager throwing hay. And if any of you know anything about throwing hay, and probably most don't, but and probably most of you don't care to, but there's a good lesson in this. Back in the old days, before they used all machinery to put together these 3,000-pound round bales that you see sitting out in the fields, covered in white diapers, it looks like, they used to produce square bales, handleable sizes of 70 to 80 pounds, and what they would do as they'd go out and mow the hay field, and then they'd let it stay out there and dry for a little bit more, and then they'd run a baler through it, and it'd produce these square bales of, like I said, 70 to 80 pounds, and then you'd get out there and throw that hay and onto a truck. And it usually it's three guys out there doing it, and the senior guy usually got to drive the truck, and he'd drive the truck slowly through, and this is for smaller operations, and he'd drive slowly through the field while the guy on the ground would pick up those bales using hay hooks, and which was a big hook with handles on it, and you'd slam those into the opposite ends of the bale, and throw that thing up onto the flatbed where another guy was up there, and he'd have the same thing. He'd pick them up with his hooks and stack them up on the back of the truck on the flatbed. Well, a friend of mine was telling me he was out there doing it one time, and as he picked up one bale, he started to throw it up, and a rattler come up at him. And that, for you who don't know, that's a rattlesnake. And he said it was a prairie rattler. Probably not, because we don't usually get those this far east. It's probably what's called a Massasauga, but a rattler's a rattler when it's at your feet, and it can be unnerving. And so of course you can imagine that kind of put a hitch in his giddy up, as we used to say around here, and it threw him off his game. And he told me that for the rest of the day there was a rattler under every bale that he picked up. Well, of course there wasn't. As it turned out, that was the only one. But in his mind, now he was thinking about something, and he was concerned about something that he hadn't been concerned about before, and it totally messed up his momentum. If you've ever thrown hay, or if you've ever picked up anything, I know most people have never thrown hay, but if you've ever picked up something heavy, it's important to keep it, something heavy close to your body. Well, he wasn't doing that, and after having a rattler come up, now he's kind of doing it there with longer arms and stepping back a bit, and I bet by the end of his day, his shoulders and his back and his arms were just killing him. And it takes a while to forget about something like that, if you ever do. Well, the message there is because I hear, I talk to a lot of people, and they'll tell me about things that have happened, that kind of interrupt their preparedness. And I think you've probably heard me say that I suggest that doing something every day, whatever it is, whether it's picking up an extra bunch of batteries when you go through Aldi, or whether it's, picking up, it doesn't matter. Every day do something. Go by and pick up a box of 22s. It's just a matter of keeping it in your mind and keeping a momentum so that it becomes a regular part of your day, and it ends up, you know, filling up your preps in a good way, so that you're not doing it in a with a feeling that you have to rush or that you're frantic or anything like that. It's just a pattern of your life. Well, something comes along, and all of a sudden, you know, maybe something happens with your truck, and you got a big fix-it bill for your truck, or something happens in your personal life, and it kind of knocks you off center, knocks you off your game. You know, those things happen. They happen to everybody, and all of a sudden, you're out of the pattern. You've lost your momentum, and it's important to try to get that back, because then the way that you'll address your preps is going to be, it won't be comfortable. It'll be kind of be in fits and starts, and so my message today is simply try to stay on your momentum. Realize that there's not a rattler under every other bale that you're going to throw today, and realize that these things that come up in your life, whether it's a money situation, a personal situation, whatever, these things will happen in life. They happen to everyone, and it's just a matter of trying to take it in stride, to keep your mind clear, and to keep yourself going in the direction that you know you need to keep going. So best of luck in that, and I hope you got something out of that message. And it's a beautiful day here. I'm going to do more with this beautiful day, and I hope you will with yours too. And I'll remind you that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I'll see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.